Hello gardeners, and welcome to Native Plant Channel. I'm Lourdes, and we're here in March in the Northeast after a very snowy February. So we just can't wait to get outside, right? Well, I have some advice for you. Don't do it just yet. It's too early to start cleaning up your garden. For those of you who are here to create healthy ecosystems for all our insects, it's just too early. So I'm going to be talking about that today. And I'm going to be talking about a fantastic pollinator plant that you are probably going to want in your gardens, and that is mountain mint. And I'm also going to show you around my garden. Let's start here with clustered mountain mint, also known as short-tooth mountain mint. And you can see it coming up here in March. The leaves have a slight red tinge to them, and the stems can also have a reddish or purplish tinge to them. But this plant is really pollinator perfection. You'll also notice last season's seed heads still lingering, and you can see that it's a pretty erect plant even after being under snowfall, probably about 2 feet of snow for a good part of the winter. Many plants are described as being pollinator magnets, but this one truly is. And this is one I'd love to share with you so that you can see just what a job it does attracting them. It has tubular, insignificant flowers that are white with flashes of pink and lavender. It is moderately aggressive, but don't let the fact that it is a mint stop you from using it in your garden. It is rather easy to pull out. It is attractive from July to September because it produces these white bracts they give it a silvery gloss to everything. So it really goes with everything in the garden. And geez, what a plant this is. Deer resistant, no pest or disease problems, easy to grow, adaptable to different soils, and it gets about 3 foot tall. It does need full sun and will tolerate a little bit of shade. It grows in average to moist soils, although it is very drought tolerant. It is beneficial for bees, small butterflies, syrphid flies, and on this plant, this is where I see all kinds of insects, things with metallic armor to them, really like metallic coats. It's just interesting, and it's always looks like it's moving because of all the pollinators that are visiting it. Mountain mint attracts small butterflies, such as hair streaks, as you see here, and it also attracts a number of skippers. So you'll have butterflies, you'll have bees, you'll have all kinds of interesting insects just hovering around this constantly from July until September. When crushed, mountain mint produces a very strong fragrance. So much literature describes it as pleasant and minty, but I actually think it's kind of unpleasant. I'm probably one of the few who does. To me, it reminds me more of a gasoline smell than anything else. However, this is probably why it is so good at avoiding deer. Just to emphasize how strong the fragrance is, I've heard that decades old museum specimens are still fragrant after many years. However, please keep in mind that this only applies to when the plant is crushed. The flowers themselves are not fragrant. Now, there are other kinds of mountain mint available. For example, slender mountain mint, which has much more narrow, needle-like leaves, is more compact. It is also more drought tolerant, preferring sandy, poor soils. It is known to be not at all aggressive in terms of spreading, except it does produce a lot of seeds which will sprout. But in a competitive native garden, those seeds would really tend to be shaded out by other plants. Gardeners looking to attract pollinators to your garden, think about what you're doing for your ecosystem, just how wonderful it would be to include this plant and how many insects you will be feeding. Now I'm going to take you around my garden so that you can see what you should be expecting in March. One thing you're going to notice is that nothing has been cleaned up, and I'm not planning to clean anything up for a while. you shouldn't either if your goal is to create happy ecosystems for our many insects and pollinators. You can see that there's still a little bit of snow left, but because the temperatures have been feeling pretty warm, we just can't wait to get out there. After all, this is the place that passionate gardeners want to be. But if we start cleaning up our garden now, we are actually removing the life cycles of some of the insects, such as the egg stage, and you are taking them out and carting them away from your garden, which is not what you want. So I am not going to do anything in here really until the temperatures steadily stay in the 50s during the daytime. And although it might be warm now, there's still plenty of time for cold spells. And you want to wait until your perennials are really starting to show themselves. You have to wait until most of your perennials are really starting to come up, and that's not happening yet. Here, this arbor is covered in coral honeysuckle, which is absolutely stunning in May when it's in full bloom, covered in red trumpet-like flowers, which attract hummingbirds. However, I did notice the buds are beginning to break and the leaves are starting to come out. I'm excited by the opportunity to plant a new bed this year. And this was unplanned, but a Christmas morning storm that involved heavy winds and a lot of rain toppled the two largest trees on my property. So now I have a whole new area to plant, and as much as I am going to miss those trees, they were evergreen, they provided shade, but they are gone. And now I'm getting very excited about the possibilities of planting this area. As you can see, when the trees came down, they did damage the fence. So that is something that has to be taken care of now as well. Here is little blue stem, which is very valuable for many of our Lepidoptera. It is the host plant for several caterpillars. Behind it is barren strawberry, a lovely ground cover that actually stays evergreen, managed under the snow to stay evergreen. It will have yellow flowers in the spring. It stays low to the ground and creeps along. And it's just a lovely native ground cover that you can use in your garden. It does prefer full sun and will also grow in part shade. As gardeners, we have the power to make the world better through the choices we make in our gardens. Thank you so much for what you're doing to make our world a better place. Please subscribe to Native Plant Channel and look for Native Plant Channel on Facebook as well, where you can find additional information. I really appreciate everything that you're doing and you being here today. Have a great day and looking forward to seeing you soon in the garden.